Well, I was gonna wait to let somebody else talk about it, but we can talk about.
We can just go right into it.
Desktop Survivor. Which is what did I claim it? Vamps.
Vamps.
Vampire Survivor-like, where instead of going into like a normal medieval vampire thing, you're just on your Windows desktop. And
your Windows 98.
Yeah, your Windows
sounds
98.
phenomenal.
Well, so on the show floor, they had it running on CRTs and stuff, and they had like old school Windows backgrounds, and they sort of also have like a dungeon overlay that you can do, so it's more familiar to people that are just like the first time they go into it. But you actually can play it just on your desktop.
Yes, so transparency.
They were comparing it to Vampire Survivors and Rusty's Retirement.
Oh, wow.
And there's also, I guess, a button in the game. I didn't see it in the demo. I was playing that. Like, let's say you're playing it at work or something, and your boss comes around the corner, you can just hit the button, it goes back to your normal desktop.
That old classic,
love it. Looks like
Flash game
file.
website had like the panic mode.
So in like normal survival games, you get different weapons, different attacks, but in this, it's all like old school Windows 98 based thing. So like my cursor that I chose was the solitaire cursor. And my attack was every once in a while, basically like 4 or 5 of the shuffled cards would come out in the pattern and like jump up and down the screen. And like those would do damage. And there would be stuff like getting the clip art. And every once in a while you'd be moving around and or some other like funny phrase would come out in like the old school orange and yellow like gradient clip art thing away from you and do damage. And all the like upgrades, I'm sure they make sense like while you're reading them, but like all the upgrades, there's stuff like +1 to your Minesweeper score.
I'm not allowed to.
The game doesn't come out till the end of the month.
That's the other interesting. You can buy a physical copy here on the show floor that comes on a disc, and you're actually buying 2 copies of the game. You're buying the copy of the game that actually runs and is on the disc, and you get a free Steam code with it.
Amazing.
And she said that like that's like the version that's on there, it's never going to get updated. So any exploit is just like you find. It's just you just exploit it to your heart's content because there's nothing.
So how many of you have bought it? All 3 of you bought it?
Yeah, I bought
How
it.
much was it?
$10. It's only $10. Like that's the thing. I can't. What does it say it is on Steam? Just buy it.
They usually don't tell you on the page until it launches.
Oh yeah, I don't think it did.
I mean, I
idea.
can't. Yeah.
It's funny. So I went up there because the line was super long, and so I chatted with one of the guys who was handling the queue a little bit. So I just got some interesting insight. It was a guy who had it's actually a solo developer who was.
Did you meet him?
I did not have a chance to meet the developer because he was busy.
He's a nice guy. Yes.
Brandon.
He had a sick jacket.
he had a cool jacket.
Yeah.
But so like this game is a solo dev project. Yeah. But the guy I was talking to they've collaborated together, and he's done some art assets and stuff like that. And I guess when Brandon was going to bring the game, he came to help out. The woman who's at the booth is Brandon's wife.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you guys was the older guy there when you guys were there.
I don't think so.
So when I went to buy the game, his wife was there. Older guy.
She was doing the hard sell.
Yeah,
on the physical copy.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I want one. And he's like, cash or card? And I was like, can I do cash? And he's like, yeah. Can you break a 20? And he was like, yeah. He literally pulls out his wallet and it's just like a ton of cash. It's her dad. So it's Brandon's father-in-law is sitting back there breaking 20s so that I can buy the physical jewel case. He's like, yeah, I gotta give them the 10 since it's technically their money, but it came from my wallet. But anyway, yeah, it was.
And I mean, he's talked about like the game comes out the 20th.
The 20th.
20th, yes. So they were talking about but everybody kept asking him about the floating toasters.
Yeah.
And when are the floating toasters coming? And of course, some of that stuff is licensed. You can't just full sale rip off Windows. So he said they're reaching out and they're trying to get some of that stuff for maybe further down the line updates and DLC. I mean, he joked about making like a Windows 2000 version or whatever at some point. But I mean, what they have like just from the demo that I played, because I only played through like one round on the floor, and that was so fun. It was really good.
But when I was there, he was some guy who was waiting in line was like, I have to know. Were any of you born in 98, like before 98 or anything?
Wow.
And he was like, him and his wife were like, we were born in 99.
Wow.
And he was like, to be fair, my family just had a Windows 98 computer for way longer than so to him, he did grow up on a Windows 98 machine.
This is the flying toasters.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, for
I know what
anybody,
the flying toasters
Yeah, because
are.
I'm not saying you
No,
don't.
no, so they,
I'm
people,
gonna-
like
I'm gonna be
three
honest, this is
people
really
walked up and
frugality.
asked about
Yeah,
the
no,
flying
I know the
toaster,
flying
and I did
toaster.
not
I'm not
remember
that
the
old.
flying toaster.
Just because I grew up in Commodore 64, load run.
No, I just don't honestly didn't think you would remember.